welcome into the SOC show here with the main man, the guru, Chris Forrest. How you going, mate?
You're good, man. How are you?
Good, legend. What are we talking about today?
Basically, like this one offer to blast you through the 10K months, even though we find the 10K months thing kind of funny.
Yeah, exactly, mate. But you've got to get people watching the show, so we've got to get some clickbait out there. Yeah. The one offer you need to blast you through 10K months, with the caveat at the beginning that 10K months is a load of bollocks and not really relevant to your business potentially, because we see this number being thrown around so much by the gurus. And look, we're throwing it around as well, so hands up. However, there's method to our madness, because we definitely feel like this figure gets thrown around a lot as the big target for new online fitness professionals. It's that six-figure business, right? You 120K a year. And look, it's a decent number to aim for as long as it actually suits your lifestyle. But the reason I say it's can be a load of bollocks is if it doesn't relate to what you actually want, what is the point of it? Because what's the point in a 10K a month business if your profit is 10%, because you've actually got 1K a month business? What's the point of a 10K month business that doesn't scale past 10K months? What's the point of a 10K month business with 10% expenses, 90% profit? However, your personal expenses are 11K. So you've got to look at it like a business when we're figuring out what our targets are, and it can't be some arbitrary number. So I feel like it's important to kick off with that, because obviously the title is probably going to be the one offer to splash through 10K months, and we're definitely going to explore that today and tell you about how to do that yourselves. But definitely worth mentioning that don't chase an arbitrary number that's not your goal, it's someone else's goal. Like, figure out what you need in your life. And I think this is a big one for you as well, Chris, because you were someone who actually wasn't chasing bigger numbers in your business. A bit different to Push Program, because I was. Your situation was a bit different, wasn't it?
Yeah, like my primary goal was always to be the primary parent for the kids, so my wife could focus on her career. So everything was around, cool, that's got to be number one. And then number two was like, okay, what is the threshold of income I need to take home to give to the family that allowed us to, because we follow Barefoot Investor, so it allows us to clear debt, have spending money, and then putting money away for a house and holidays and all that kind of stuff. So my target was, even though in my head, for years, it was always about 10K months. And even when I talked to you the first time, it was about 10K months. And then you maybe flip the script a bit and go, what do you actually need it for? And then when I went through all that process of figuring it out, it was just a totally different number than what I thought it was, which was eye-opening for me in the sense that it wasn't going to be as hard as what I thought it was going to be. Sure. It was still challenging, but it wasn't as like crazy as it needed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's got an emotional outcome attached to it then as well, isn't it? Because it's your number, right? You know what that number's going to do for you in your life. Like, it's going to provide X, Y, and Z for the family and get your next investment and everything else. So it means more. Whereas if you just write 10K on your whiteboard because some guru said it's what you should be doing, it doesn't mean shit. So I think that's really important, and it's probably what drove you towards hitting it so easily.
By having that goal focused on the family aspect and all that kind of stuff, so much more exciting, because we work together now, and I'm not very much a money-driven kind of guy. It's like, what is that going to allow me to do? So that's the only reason I love a push for it. And that changed it for me, because before, when it was just 10K, all I thought about was the amount of work I had to do to get there. And that kind of put a block in my way. So it did change the game for me massively when I figured it out.
Yeah.
What is it that I wanted to do to live the life I wanted to live?
Yeah, it's so true. And the reality is, none of us actually want money. We only want the experience and freedom that money provides. Money's nothing.
Yeah.
It's pieces of paper that somebody said had value. So it's a different topic altogether. But it's true. It's true, isn't it? Like this really should be the goal setting kind of North Star episode. But it's worth mentioning that make sure you're chasing goals that are super important for you. And in this episode, we're going to help you get to 10K, 20K, whatever that goal might be, and talk about the offer that you need to get there in a simple time-effective, enjoyable manner, which are really important things. Episode 5 now, mate. We made it. Shout out to our 5 subscribers. My mum, your wife. Those cats.
And us too.
So I think with episode 5, we should definitely tell people, do a bit of a better job at telling people what the hell to do and how to watch this. So we are, the best place to watch this is in our Facebook group on Facebook, which you're more than welcome to join as long as you're not a knobhead, and on LinkedIn. And the reason those 2 places are the best are because they're the places you can comment on the episodes and interact for the free giveaways that we always include in these episodes. However, if you want to watch on YouTube, listen on Spotify, you absolutely can do that as well. So whatever suits you guys and girls that are watching out there. So make sure you subscribe, like, follow, all that jazz. And let's get into it. So one offer, blast through 10K months. Chris, where are we going to start, brother?
Well, the biggest... Well, probably not the biggest thing, but one of the things that comes up a lot is like the coaching confusion in the sense of like trying to create lots of different avenues to get, well, let's just use the 10K months as an example, like to get to that 10K, like a high ticket, a low ticket, and different, and like even like targeting different people, like different niches. And the thing that happens is like obviously having struggling with lead flow because it's just too much to really they're trying to focus on. They can't focus on it because there's too many things going on. So to you, the question I have for you is like, have you ever seen many people get much success trying to do a low, high, and all over the place, or even starting with a low ticket offer to get to 10K?
Yeah, so you're talking about obviously Chris, for context, Chris does a lot of our consultations for people wanting to come in to support online clients. So you're talking about the guys you speak to, coaches you speak to, you find that they've got multiple offers sometimes and try to serve multiple niches. And
or even just doing a low ticket offer because they think or believe the market is, that's the only way they can get people to sign up. Yeah, awesome question. And I definitely see this a lot as well. Yeah, so multiple offers, I think, is a huge distraction, especially when you're first starting out. The truth is that Push program, which, is a program I ran online for 3 years, we only ever had one offer, and it was our high ticket coaching transformation offer. It was 90 days, and then we dropped it to 8 weeks, and people paid good money for it. We helped mums in Australia to transform their bodies and health long term, and helped them have a multi-generational impact, or we were able to have a multi-generational impact. So we charged between $2,000 and $3,000 for our 90-day program, and then the same price when we dropped it to 8 weeks. And that was the only offer we ever had. So when we talk about offer, what Chris and I are talking about there is value exchange. And when value is higher than price, people will make that a value exchange. But the value proposition that Chris is seeing and hearing on a lot of calls is either all over the place. It's I've got this offer for people who are after body composition, and then I've got this other 8-week program for people that are after mindset shift, and then I've got this low ticket do-it-yourself course that people can buy off my website. And the reality is nobody's buying any of them, because the message that sends to the market is that I do not have one solution for one specific person. I'm trying to sell loads of shit to different people and make some money. So unintentionally sending the message to the market that you're not an expert, that you are a commodity that will be price compared accordingly. And this is why so many coaches are struggling with multiple offers. So I think that addresses the multiple offer thing. I think it's a complete distraction until you get to 10K. And the one offer that you need at 10K or whatever your goal is, just keep using the 10K for now. The one offer you need is a high ticket online coaching program. And there's lots of different reasons for that. But to answer the second part of that question, have I seen much success with low ticket? Absolutely not. If you are going to hit the market and swim in that sea of sharks with celebrities and influencers that have got much bigger followings than you, you're going to crash and burn unless you've got a bigger ad budget, and chances are you haven't got that. So you can compete for attention using your following or money or cash or energy, but it's going to be hard to beat these people that are out there selling $20 a week app, right? That are massive celebrities, massive influencers. So and the truth is, it's actually more effort and harder and takes longer to sell a low ticket
program. It's
100%.
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you have to be so good. Your landing pages have to be amazing. You have to look better than these celebrities. You have to have everything dialed in. You need fancy websites, you need fancy apps to sell a low ticket offer. To sell a high ticket offer, you don't need any of that. It's just obscene. It's crazy to think about, but it's so true.
It is. It's like, it doesn't make sense in the sense that the low ticket offer requires all these things to line up so perfectly well, while with the high ticket offer, you can get by with so much less than that. Like, why do you think that is?
It's market positioning, isn't it? Because if you position, I mean, this is really a different topic, but you can't not talk about it. But if you position yourself as an expert in a field and put yourself in a market of one, there's no comparison. You can't be price compared. You're not a commodity. But if you're a lose £10 in 10 weeks using our shred system and buy it on our landing page, and it's $9.95 a week, like you're in a heap of trouble, right? But if you're positioning yourself as someone who's got one solution for one specific person in the market, you don't need a fancy website. You just need to get your marketing message out there, and people will connect with you on a deep level and pay good money to work one-to-one with you. And this is one of the other elements of this, right? Especially when you're first starting out, you're going to want a one-to-one offer. You're not going to want to go and do this course offer. You want to get incredible transformations for people. You want to work really closely with them. If you're going to do that, you have to charge a high price point, because you don't want to find yourself in a position where you've exchanged one time for money trap for another, gone from the PT floor if that's your situation or whatever, and giving yourself the same problem online. So yeah, there's so much that goes into this, but I think it's always market positioning, right? Like you can easily sell a high ticket offer when you position it correctly, and you genuinely are helping one person get one incredible result in their lives, because no one else is doing it. No one's going to compare you. I think that answers the question, even though I went around the houses a bit. Is that clear?
Yeah. And then I guess for anyone who's just like listening for the first time, do you want to describe what high ticket is and how it roughly how it looks, to give people an idea? Because some people might think of like a lot of stuff I'm getting on the calls when we're talking to these coaches is they feel like if they do high ticket in their head, they feel like they're going to be ripping people off, and they feel like it's a bit of a scam. So why don't you describe like what you believe high ticket is, and how, like when you described it to me when I started working with you, how you could change my mindset around on like how I'll be delivering better results with what I'm doing. And it's the transformation pretty much that you begin selling them on. Yeah,
it's a really good question. Starting with price point, I mean, it's almost impossible to say, but I'm not going to sit on the fence. In B2C, which is where our clients are, business to consumer, I think anything above $1,500, let's use US dollars, which is pretty similar to pounds at the moment anyway, somewhere around there, 1,000 to 1,500, you're getting towards high ticket. But we genuinely think if you're solving a huge problem in the market, you'll be able to charge 2K plus and sometimes 3K plus. And there isn't really an upper ceiling. There isn't really, but it does depend a little bit on the niche, right? There are some intricacies there. But yeah, look, 1,500, you're getting towards high ticket. And how many clients do you really need? Even if you're charging 1,000, how many clients do you really need to hit 10K months? If you're charging 1,000 a month, it's 10 clients.
Yeah.
So if you've got a 2-month program and it's 2K, it's 1,000 a month. You need 10 clients to get 10K months. If you're charging 100 a month, which I'm sure you hear a lot of guys coming on calls with you around that ballpark, 100 a month from 150 to 200, like you're going to need 100 clients, 50 to 100 clients, right? If my maths is on point there.
Which
it's not the
like I started when I did my online, I was at $100 a month, and I always had as my list, and my target was I got to get 100. And the amount of overwhelm of trying to find 100 people, especially the way I marketed, was just insane. And then the flipping the script to selling a higher ticket program because I solved a really big problem for these dads I was coaching, and only needing 10 just took so much stress away about what I wanted to talk about on social media, how many conversations I needed to have, and all that kind of stuff that gets people on the calls. It just changed
Yeah.
It made it just like achievable in my head, like it could actually work.
Yeah, and look, it's okay to throw these prices around, but no one's going to have faith in asking for that sum of money. Like if they're coming from the place that you've just mentioned, where they don't want to rip people off, they want to provide a great service. That's absolutely should be your concern. That should be at the forefront of your mind. Yeah, absolutely. Don't charge high ticket unless you're delivering high ticket. Don't charge high ticket without high results. Fuck that. That is not what we're advocating at all. Like you have to deliver high ticket. And that's the problem sometimes that a lot of the coaches speak to, because they haven't identified a niche and the big problem they solve. How can they have faith and belief to ask someone for 1, 2, 3,000? Like they can't, because they don't have it yet. They don't have the offer created. So the offer has to solve one big problem for one specific person, or you're not going to be able to charge high ticket for it, or it is £100 pound a month offer, you know. So there's work to be done. But I think, that's probably what you're finding with a lot of these coaches. I know it certainly was when I was handling most of our consultations. Yeah, coaches don't have the faith because they shouldn't have the faith in the thing they've got at the moment, because it isn't solving a big problem. You get paid in accordance of the severity of the problem you solve in the market. And if your offer is pay me £100 a month for personalized coaching and nutrition, no chance.
And touching on that, like just really briefly, like just so people listening can kind of get an idea, the trap that I fell in early on as well is that high ticket offer being loaded with stuff, just fully loaded with things, thinking I had to put more and more and more and more and more stuff in there to warrant the price, which wasn't the case, which I found out in the end. It was more like, what is it, especially for my dads, it's just niche specific, I would say, but with my dads, it was so much about how much time I could save them while still achieving the result. What is the least amount of time they could put in to get the result, because they just didn't have the time to do it. So I ended up chucking stuff away. The more I increased my price over time, because I was solving a bigger problem, it was less and less and less stuff, because that's what they needed. It's what they wanted. They wanted less things to do.
Yeah,
it was super interesting for me because I was so much from the world of features and benefits to start with.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because that's how simple online clients kind of evolved, right? Obviously, I did my 3-year journey and noticed that myself. I noticed the simpler I made it, all of a sudden, the better results I could get for people, the more I could charge, and the more people saw me as the unique solution. So when we went to switch over to start helping coaches do what I'd done and built simple online clients, we built a whole business around this premise. Simple online clients. Like, how do we create a roadmap to help fitness professionals go online and build successful 10, 20, 30K plus a month businesses in a very simple way? So it's funny because this is the whole reason our business ended up being built the way it was built from the beginning. Because I remember consulting you, Chris, and seeing all the stuff you're including and seeing how you were placing the value on the stuff instead of the result. And I think a really good, because we're not going to go super deep, we'll stay top level in this podcast or show, but we have got another episode, which was what? Episode 2? Yes. How to sell and deliver 3K plus online programs, which is super. Anyone who's interested in this topic, it's a really important one to watch because we go super deep on it, include all the 10 steps you need to include and everything else. But yeah, what was the original question? I forgot.
Like
hope you can remember.
The belief that they have to just fully load up. The high ticket thing, because it's still stuck in features and benefits pricing, which is a lot of in-person coaching, and selling in-person coaching is usually around features and benefits. This is what my gym has. This is how many hours I'm with you. This is what we're going to do. Not that they get stuck. That comes with them when they want to come online. They came with me, and it just gets you in a bit of a trap.
Yeah, it's such a misconception that because I'm charging high ticket, I've got to throw loads more stuff in there when nobody values stuff. Nobody values information and nobody values an app. Yeah. But that's what we think. That's what we think we have to load up. Exactly like I was
just laughing, me and my apps. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've all been there. It's the beauty of this show, peeps. You know, we don't take the piss out of anyone except ourselves. We've both done this. But yeah, we did it. We see a lot of coaches doing it. It's what we're trying to obviously guide our clients away from, is trying to stack it up with features. Of course, include elements to make delivery easier and elements to make your program as good as it can be. But the truth is that when you start out, your offer really can be, I'm going to work with you one-to-one, and we're going to address whatever problem comes up, and we're going to connect a couple of times a week, and I'm going to help you with this problem, solve this problem in your life. But you're not going to provide that opportunity to have that conversation with someone unless you're speaking to one person, right? So again, back to the niche and offer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could literally be, let's say it's one-to-one Zoom once a week. You give them your workouts, which could literally be in a Google Doc. Like, I'm not recommending this in 2022, but you could do this and still charge 3K. And here's why: if it solves the biggest problem in their life, it's worth 3K. Right? It's not worth 3K because it's got a better app than the next person, or because it's got more recipe packs, or because you include more workout videos, or like, there's no value in that. They are just elements to make delivering the main result a little bit easier and more time effective for you as a coach, and more enjoyable for them to receive as a client. But they do not give a shit how they get the result, as long as you're solving a huge problem in their life, and you'll get paid in accordance with the severity of that problem, really.
That's it. Like, I think when I finally realized that, the busy dads finally took off, because it was like I was solving a time crunch problem. Like, and the talking to the dads that hate gyms and probably would never want to start strength training, and showing them, because there's nothing out there really telling them how to get the results they need. Exactly. And that's the problem I solved. And then once I started doing that, the conversations changed massively. Yeah. Which was huge.
Yeah.
So on that, like, what are the 3 types of offers you would recommend once someone does find out their niche, they're talking to one person, they got themselves up with this high ticket offer to 10K or whatever their target number is? What do you recommend would be the additional offers they could put on once they get to that point? And that part, the high ticket's running really well, it's systemized, it's repeatable, and they can start looking at doing other stuff. What do you recommend?
Yeah. I mean, once they've used that high ticket offer as a vessel to get them to their goal, let's say it's 10K, absolutely there are other offers to include there. But what I will say is that before 10K or whatever your goal is, any other offer is a complete distraction. Yeah. After 10K or your initial goal, which let's say it's your comfort number, whose concept is that? We stole that from PT guy. I'll give him a shout.
Oh, John Goodman, freedom number.
Yeah, freedom number. I think that's John Goodman. Yeah. So once you've hit your freedom number or whatever, right? Yes, I think it's sensible to introduce another offer that will help you scale to those bigger months from there, instead of just having that high ticket. But probably not going to say what most people are expecting here. This isn't going to be a low ticket offer either. I think the most sensible offer to have in your business after that is actually more access to you, high ticket, gold standard, business class, whatever you want to call it, offer, whereby it's way more expensive for more access to you, more one-to-one time, because there's people out there that want it. Just like there's people out there that want to fly first class, or they want the fast track ticket at the theme park. Like, there's people that want that experience. So it makes sense to table it. The only reason we don't table it earlier is because, like I say, it can be a distraction in going and building it. But realistically, there isn't much building except for figuring out who this is for exactly. What segment of the market are we really trying to attract with it? And are we going to kind of put money behind it? And there's a few decisions we need to make, but it's so easy to introduce a plus offer to your business that it's a kind of a no-brainer at that point.
I would agree. Like, and it's sort of like it's not a massive transition from the high ticket offer you already got going.
No.
In the sense of, like, if it was my dad's, it would be, can I save him even more time? And that would be the next step. That's literally it. Because it's like, that's the thing they want the most. Yes, they want to be lean and healthy and stuff like that, but it's just buying back time. Because all the dads I talk to are just, they don't have the time, or they're just really bad at time management. But buying back their time is what they would go to the, say, like high ticket plus or whatever it will call.
Yeah. yeah, the things you need to be thinking are, again, once again, it's not what else can we throw on top and try and charge more.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. How can we do more for them? How can we produce more value, like provide more value for them? Well, even if it's stuff like thinking outside the box, like, and again, this could be a distraction, but at this point in the business, it's time to start thinking about offers. Maybe you can partner with a food supply company that provides food for this person if it's a good fit, and you have a cut, they have a cut, and you've all of a sudden almost become like a bit of a middleman there, but you've created an even better offer because my food's looked after now. If you're working with these busy corporate dads, can we get food delivered to their office? And this is just thinking outside the box, not something I've actually put into practice, but it's just an obvious choice when you think about what else can we do for them that will save them time and make the journey easier. And it's not an easy task. So it takes, sitting down and writing down things that you think are even completely outside the box and completely unfathomable. Like, they need writing down, and then think about, all right, what's feasible, what's really not feasible, cross them out. What might be feasible, but it's just not quite in my comfort zone right now. But could it be done? Well, it could be done. Put a star next to it. So it's about thinking a bit bigger at that point and packaging something up. But if you think about it, if you've got a gold standard premium offer that's 3K, right, instead of 1K, it's made your business much easier to scale. And all it has to do is sit there and get offered to the right person at the right time. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to market that front and center. It's an offer that sits within your business, right? It's an asset almost that you can use when the time is right. Even if you sell one a year, it's worth doing. It's worth spending a couple of hours on.
Yeah, it also makes the current offer more desirable as well.
Exactly.
When you've got the idea there.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
Yeah.
I had my brain ticking over then with different ideas. I was about to go brain dump with like all these different things you could add into it. Like,
it's an exciting
so many different ideas.
Yeah, it's a very exciting task. It's not easy to do, especially not in B2C. It's much easier in B2B. Like for a B2B, it's almost like the agency offer equivalent of in B2C, because an agency offer in B2B is, of course, we'll do everything, pretty much do everything for you. And it is very expensive, very high ticket. But the agency version in B2C would be thinking along the same lines, right? Still, how do we make the process easier? How do we take things off their plate? How do we make it faster? How do we make it easier? How do we make it more enjoyable? They're the elements, aren't they? So it's a very interesting thought process. But yeah, the second offer would be a higher ticket, actually. And then the third offer, since you asked about 3, would be eventually a lower ticket offer. But it would be done in a very strategic way, because one of the worst things you can ever do once you get to those good months is start to cannibalize the main offer. And this is what we see outside of SOC. We see this with a lot of coaches. To get to a decent place with offer 1, and if you've done that, credit to you, because that's you're in quite rare air if you've done that. If you're outside SOC, like then you can start to think, well, let's just chop off a section of our program. Let's make it shorter, is one option. Let's make it a bit less access, so it's a bit more do it yourself. And let's only offer it to people that have been ruled out of the high ticket offer. The mistake people make is they create this low ticket offer and then they start trying to sell it to everyone, when most of the people will actually need your high ticket offer to get real success, right? We don't want to sell the wrong thing to someone. You only ever make an offer if it's right for you, your business, and it's right for your prospects. And it has to tick both those boxes every single time. It can't just be right for your business. It can't just be right for your prospects. It's got to be right for both parties, always. But if you're on a call with someone and look, they can't quite afford your high ticket offer, and you think they could probably start to see some progress in your low ticket offer, you can offer it. But do not cannibalize your main offer and the amazing business you've built. If you got to 10K or whatever your initial goal, if you got to 1K, if that was your goal, bloody well done. Don't cannibalize it by putting a low ticket offer that everyone puts a hand up for, because the chances are a lot of them need your high ticket offer. And the last thing you want is for them to take your low ticket offer, it not work for them, and then they assume the rest of your services don't work. So it has to be offered to the right person. But, a very brief overview, a simple way to do this is chop off a section of your program. Think, well, could we do a 30-day version? That's I don't know. Maybe we take groups. Maybe we take groups through it. Maybe it's a bit less access. Maybe it's group coaching. Or do we keep it the same length, but it's more of a group coaching thing, and we take tribes through it? Or is it going to be evergreen? Like, there's a few different ways you can do it. It's definitely niche specific. It's definitely based on your business goals and what you're actually trying to achieve from this offer. Are we trying to add a certain amount of revenue each month from this offer? Are we using it as a feeder system to upsell into your main program? What's the strategy? We need to start with that. Start with strategy and then design the offer. Almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I would put the idea, everyone is listening, like the idea of it like potentially being easier. Just take that out of your brain. It will probably take just as much work or more work than your high ticket offer to even get it working. Like the amount of time you spend to sell someone into this lower ticket offer will be basically the same, or if not more, than your flagship program, your high ticket offer.
Exactly.
Like, from what we've seen and what we do, it's exactly the same amount of time. Yeah. So you got to, one, make sure you have the time and capacity to do a lower ticket offer. It's not going to be easier. You're still going to be having to be available to support them because they're going to ask these questions. Like it's coaching in the end.
Yeah. And let's not forget. Sorry, mate.
No, you go.
Yeah, let's not forget, we design, if we do this the right way, we've designed your high ticket offer to be perfect solution for one person, right? So if we start detracting from that, chances are it's not the perfect solution, but it's going to be a better than nothing solution. So you've got to feel good that, look, if they can't get in my high ticket program, I'll sell them something low ticket as long as I can sleep at night knowing that they've got, it's better than them doing something else. Like, I would rather them have a go at this. But chances are you need them in your high ticket program. We designed it that way for a reason, and we designed it in a one-to-one coaching format to, in its purest form. It's a one-to-one coaching thing. Your high ticket program, it's going to have some element of one-to-one coaching. That's what high ticket programs are, or at least it should be. So to start taking that away and creating these low ticket offers, the chances are they're not going to be as good as your high ticket. Like, that's why it's low ticket. So it's a really hard balance, and I think that is a really good take-home message for everyone that you said there. Like, don't think for a second that it's easier to create, and don't think it's easy to sell, because it's not. Yeah, like it's just not. It's not easier to sell your low-ticket offer at £200 than it is your high-ticket offer, because chances are, like, it's not exactly what they need. Like, they need your high-ticket offer; they just can't afford it right now. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It's much easier if you've built the high ticket first, because you know what's working and what's not, and what section might work as a shorter program, if that's even feasible, or what element might work to strip it back and give people an option to have some access to your knowledge library, to group coaching potentially. So yeah, it's definitely not a one size fits all there, but with almost every B2C business. I'll say every B2C business I would recommend. I've not seen one yet that shouldn't start with the high ticket offer. From there, there might be some differences in whether you go premium or low ticket after that, and when, and that's based on your goals. But it's always going to be high ticket first.
I was going to say, ask you that exact question. Like, when, let's say the gold standard or first class plus or whatever way, like the next level up from your flagship program, when do you think it would be a good idea to introduce that? Like, we already said the 10K rule, but when, like, let's say they do hit 10K, but is there any other things they should be getting in place or looking out for before they decide to go the plus or the gold standard program?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because there's lots of different ways you can hit 10K, right? Or your goal. You could hit 10K like killing yourself, not seeing your family, not training. So I think you've got to be, I think a couple of things. You've got to be enjoying the business that you've already built, I think, before you start playing around with it. How have you got to your goal? It's not just about the money, right? We don't. That's not what Simple Online Clients is about. We believe that hard work is absolutely required, but we don't believe that hard work and balance are mutually exclusive. Like, it's one of our 5 core values. We believe that you can have both. No one works harder than us. Well, actually, someone probably does, but not many people. not many people work harder than us. But we're super focused on balance as well. So I think that's important. How did you get there? And the other thing, some other little micro metrics would be, what's the close rate? Like, if the close rate is super high, like if you're not having to get on many sales calls to get to your goals, it kind of seems sensible to either up your prices or have a higher priced product, right? Because you're getting that data from the market that we haven't found a price ceiling. Let's say closing at 45%. It's really good in high ticket. So we'd be looking at, if our guys are at 45%, we'd be looking at, should we be pushing our prices right now because we're not hitting the ceiling, or should we just keep that flowing as it is nicely, enjoy this high close rate, and introduce another offer? So I think that would be a good metric to keep an eye on. Close rate and the way you're actually running your business right now, and if it's ready for that offer. I don't know. Can you think of that? You think of anything else?
I like the one you said first is like, are you enjoying the work you're doing right now that got you to 10K is a really good question. And not just enjoyment in like the coaching, which generally we would all do massive hours coaching because we kind of enjoy it. But like, are you doing anything outside of that? Or are you just coaching and then you fall into a heap? Which is a big thing I had to play around with a lot, was getting the balance right as well. But because it brought up an idea, like I can't remember the author, but the book Bumpers, where he's like, what do you want your life to look like? And does your current 10K model fit that life now? Yeah. It's like, cool. If you add the next level up, does it keep you in your bumpers, or are you starting to fall out of it? Yeah. Because if you fall out of it, you'll do it for a little bit. You can always, like, there's like we've talked about before, there's times when we're going to go outside the bumpers to do whatever we need to do for business, as long as we come back and get back in our framework. So I like that idea of like, is the business ready? And then, is your life ready? Are you already at capacity in your bumpers? And it's just a matter of just putting the prices up of what you're doing so you can get more income? Or do you have capacity inside your, lack of a better word, bumpers to put time towards something extra? Yeah, exactly. Because we have to be applying pressure to the right area of the business, don't we? And for me, if you're hitting your 10K or your comfort goal, but it's killing you and you're not enjoying it, then the wrong area of focus is an additional offer. Like, we need to figure out why that's happening. Is there a delivery problem? Is it you're not loving working with this niche anymore? What's going on? And that might be applying pressure to your personal life. It might be applying pressure to another area of finance, fitness, family, faith, whatever your version of faith is. It might be a different area we have to apply pressure to. So I think that's super important before we start playing around with other things and other offers. Because, I mean, this is an episode all on its own as well, but if it's one thing we see that makes coaches fail, so many online coaches fail. Like, not most don't make it. Like, guys, the statistics are atrocious, and it's not meant to scare you. The whole point of doing this podcast is to help with these statistics, help improve them, is focusing on the wrong area, right? It's putting your energy into the wrong area. And that's a problem with visibility on data and just not having the education and knowledge required to build a business. Those two things, really. Like, it's that simple. Like, you've got to get the education, support if you need it, and help to know how to run a business and build a business. A specific online coaching business like a fitness one, if that's, I'm assuming you're going to be health and fitness if you're watching this, and just relentless attention to the data that's going to tell you where to apply pressure in your business. You don't need to guess. Like, the data is going to tell you. But like we talked about before, man, if we do an episode on data. Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's so much like, people will just be like, all they'll hear is static. Like, but like we always tell everybody, is like, as long as we can see the data, we can coach the data. Exactly. It's the same with it would be the same with your clients. Yeah. You get them to do stuff. The only way you can coach them is if you can see the stuff that they've done the previous week. You coach the data, and then you coach the mindset to get them to show up for the next week. It's the same in business. We coach the data. Yeah. What's not working, we'll fix that.
Exactly.
And then we just, if everything's working well, we improve what's working well. There's always something we can improve on.
Yeah.
So on that, let's talk about the low ticket thing. We know we're only going to go low ticket if the high ticket's going well, high ticket plus or gold standards the next thing.
Yeah.
So we know there's a filter there. Is there anything else around the idea of the low ticket that you would say need to be mentioned, or we kind of covered it, or you reckon?
I think it's worth recapping that anyway, just to finish off, because it's the whole message of the show really is to try and help fitness coaches, fitness professionals trying to build their online business, help them do it like more effectively and efficiently. And let's summarize. I guess we're summarizing why not low ticket. So firstly, competition. You don't. Competition is not a bad thing, by the way. Like, it's a good thing. It drives you to be better. You're going to have it wherever you land, whatever offer you create. But you don't want to be in the competition as a commodity because you can get compared. We want competition, healthy competition. That's great. It's great for everyone. But you need an attractive offer and niche to make sure that you're at least putting yourself. It's not going to be a market of one, let's face it, unless you've got a ridiculously tight niche. But it's a smaller market where you can really have a big impact and talk to people much easier and connect with people much easier. So I think competition in this instance would be a negative, even though it's always a positive in a sense. Volume, just the volume of everything with more clients, right? You need more sales, which means you need more leads, which means you probably need to spend more money on ads or put more time into finding them. Time, energy, money. What resource are you going to use to find all this volume of people you need to get what is it, 100 clients retained a month to make 10K? The volume of everything, the volume that leads to in admin, the volume that leads to in coaching. You can have a group coaching program, like you said earlier, like if you're going to get people results, there's going to be some one-to-one element. There should be. So how are you going to do that? Just volume of everything. Third reason, it's no easier. It's actually, I would argue it's harder to sell low ticket than high ticket. If you do high ticket the right way. Of course, it's hard to sell high ticket if you've got no niche, your offer sucks, and you're not putting yourself out there in the market. Of course, it's hard. But if you do it the right way, I think it's easier. I would argue it's easier to sell high ticket. So competition, volume, difficulty, it's just way harder to sell low ticket. Slower to scale, slower to grow your business. That means much slower, I guess, on a macro scale, much slower personal wealth creation for you. If you're trying to extract money from your business to put into assets, to put into investments, it's going to be slower to grow your business. Probably shitter results. How many people do you see getting incredible results selling a $20 a week offer versus the results that our guys get for their clients? Shitter results means less testimonials, means less remarketing resources. You can't remarket that. You're not going to increase know, like, and trust in the market. Man, I feel like I could go on forever, but five's a lot. Is there any more that are top of mind? I guess it's a list of why low ticket sucks.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to mention a bit of a mindset shift in the sense of, like, the coaches sometimes that get stuck in this low ticket ideas. They're like, I want to help as many people as I can.
Yeah. Really good
I wanted to talk about, for me, what worked for me was that once I started high ticket, I gave more stuff away for free.
Yeah.
So I helped more people for free than I ever could if I did low ticket. So it gives you the freedom, because you get the freedom number. You get your freedom number quicker. You have more capacity to give more stuff away for free because you're not stressed by giving away your program basically for free, because you're not worried about, like, I need to find 100 people to sign up. You don't give anything away for free because you just want everyone in your program. But if you only need 10, you're quite happy giving away stuff for free to 100 people to get 10 people into your program. Yeah,
it's so true. It's such a good point as well. I'm glad we didn't miss that, because we do hear it a lot, and it's such a great attitude. You want to help more people. Problem is, you're probably not going to help more. Like we mentioned, that the results chances aren't going to be as good. And for me personally, I would rather have a giant impact in a small number of lives that can then become a multi-generational impact. And that was our idea with Push Program. Yeah, maybe you don't help as many people on this top level, but who are you helping down the line? Like, it's not just wide, it's deep as well. So I think that's a really good point. And like you say, you do have that time and space to give more away. You know, we wouldn't be able to do this podcast and take an hour a week and edit and everything else if we were running a business that was low ticket. Because why? Because we'd be getting messages every day about with problems because it wouldn't be as good a product or service. You know, people won't feel supported. We'd be getting churn. We'd have loads of admin. You know, it'd just be we wouldn't be able to do this or give stuff away like we do on every episode, which we need to on this one actually. I think that's a really good point. It's awesome. It's an awesome attitude that most coaches we speak with have. Because look, you're not going to make it unless you want to have an impact. Like, you need to be in this for more than yourself. And it's a really good attitude, but the problem is it's not going to serve them because it's so controversial. But it's really hard to help a lot of people if you broke yourself and you're constantly scrambling.
That's what I was going to say. You can't help anyone else unless you're taken care of first anyway.
You can't, and then there's always those exceptions, right? That prove the rule. You know, Gandhi, and Mother Teresa, and look, amazing. But I know for a fact I'll be able to have a bigger impact to help more people if I'm looked after myself. And the other thing is, you just putting that energy into less people and spending more time with less people, right? Instead of trying to spread out your cup of energy into 100 clients, you got 10. And I just personally think it's much better to have a much bigger lasting impact in less people's lives than trying to spread yourself too thin and go on this. You know, it's valiant, but it's probably not going to work because you're not going to sell anyone into it anyway. Like, the people you do sell won't stick around. You probably won't tell their friends about it. So it's a bit of a catch-22 there. You want to help more people, but you'll end up helping less because of the offer, because the offer sucks.
Yeah, and you get the low ticket problems with those type of problems that come along with it, which is a total other podcast episode we can talk about.
Yeah,
like why high ticket is brings you quality of clients that will get massive results.
Yeah, more committed, you know, more serious. Like, it's hard working with a load of clients that aren't committed. Like we had this with Push Program before we found the formula. Like, it's not a cool job. Like, it's not a cool entrepreneurial journey. But working with a handful of people that are truly committed, it's the most amazing business you can build, in my opinion. It creates huge impact in the world, regardless of whether you're talking about B2B or B2C. Huge impact in the world and the lives of others, while providing an amazing life for yourself and those you care about. Like, what better combination is there?
Yeah,
it's the ultimate business. Really, there's not many businesses that tick those boxes in such a profound way. So, love it.
What's the free thing?
Yeah, man. This is going to be interesting. Not thought about this. So I think we're talking about offers, aren't we? So we haven't got a handout for this. That I don't think, but we could pluck out the training from SOC and just give the whole training away. It's literally
I reckon that'd be cool. That was a good training.
Yeah, it's like an hour-long training we did with the crew. It talks about the 3 core offers. It talks about when to introduce them. It talks about why. It talks about how to price them, how to package them, you know, the reasons for and against each offer, where to start. Basically covers everything in this episode on a much deeper level. So, look, if the desire's there, we'll give that away. So if you're watching, you're going to have to go on Facebook or LinkedIn, which the link will be below this video. Facebook or LinkedIn to get this, because obviously you've got to comment to get it, and then we'll message you, and we can message you on either of those platforms. So make sure you're in our free group where we put these episodes, or following us on LinkedIn. Obviously, go to YouTube if you want, but if you comment, we won't be able to message you on there. So we'll give our whole free training away on that. I think it's an hour-long deep dive from memory.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like, there's a lot of good ideas in it, and like what you can do, and especially for the gold standard, which is, I think, the one that when people came into that training, they were all thinking going lower ticket first. And then after that training, they were like, I'm going to go gold standard.
Yeah.
It sounds way more enjoyable from a coaching experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll give that away, and I think it will reinforce the message of today.
Yeah.
But if you don't want that free training and you want to take one thing away from this, truth is you don't need more than one offer to build a multi-six-figure business. So you can hit 100K months ridiculously easily if you do this the right way, and there's no reason why you can't hit 200, 300K a year, like on one offer, because we've proven it. So yeah, don't stress about multiple offers. Go and work on the one thing that's going to be a vessel to create wealth for you and those you care about, and to create a massive impact in the world. Like, focus on that vessel and forget the distractions, and reach out if you need help. Awesome, Chris. Thanks a lot, brother. See you on the next one.
Thanks, man.
And over and out.
See you guys.